Welcome back, coin hunters. Stop scrolling and check your pennies. A Lincoln Memorial penny that looks completely ordinary at first glance could turn out to be a fascinating discovery when the right date, variety, condition, mint mark, or striking error is present. Certain Lincoln Memorial cents have attracted strong attention from collectors, and exceptional examples with rare varieties or outstanding grades have brought impressive prices at auction. Today, we are putting the spotlight on the Lincoln Memorial penny and taking a closer look at the details that can separate an ordinary 1-cent coin from a highly collectible piece. From the date and mint mark to unusual doubling, errors, varieties, and overall condition, every small detail can matter. So before you spend that old penny or toss it into a jar, take a close look. The coin sitting in your collection could be far more interesting and potentially far more valuable than its 1-cent face value. Let's get started. First up, the 1960 was struck at the Denver Mint, and more than 4 billion examples were produced that year. Even with that enormous production, collectors pay close attention to surviving examples with unusual varieties, strong details, attractive original surfaces, and especially exceptional mint state preservation. The coin is part of the historic Lincoln Memorial cent series that began in 1959, replacing the famous wheat reverse with Frank Gasparo's Lincoln Memorial design. Today, a 1960 cent represents an important part of American coinage history, and finding one in an unexpected place can make the search exciting for any collector. The history of the 1960 Lincoln Memorial cent takes us back to an important period in United States history. The Lincoln cent had already been circulating for decades, and by 1969, the Memorial reverse had become a familiar part of everyday American commerce. The coin carries Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, based on the original Lincoln cent design, while the reverse displays the Lincoln Memorial surrounded by the inscriptions United States of America, EPLURBUSUNUM, and 1 cent. The Denver Mint's D mint mark identifies where this particular example was produced. The standard 1960 cent measures approximately 19 millimeters in diameter and weighs about 3.11 grams, and it was made from the traditional copper composition used for this period, approximately 95% copper and 5% zinc. These details make the coin immediately recognizable and give collectors several important features to examine when evaluating an example. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1960 cent is that its value can change dramatically depending on the condition and characteristics of the individual coin. A heavily circulated rough example may show scratches, dark coloration, worn lettering, flattened Lincoln details, and significant surface marks from decades of use. But for collectors, condition is not simply about whether a coin looks old. The grading scale examines the amount of wear, the quality of the surfaces, the strength of the strike, the original color, and other characteristics. This is where the 1960 becomes especially interesting. PCGS notes that high-grade examples are difficult to locate, with MS66 examples being particularly challenging, and MS67 examples described as extremely scarce. The survival of truly high-quality coins is much smaller than the original production figure might suggest. The huge production number should not make collectors ignore this coin. In fact, it creates an interesting contrast between availability in ordinary grades and scarcity in exceptional grades. The Denver Mint produced 4,2,832,200 Lincoln cents dated 1969, meaning enormous numbers entered circulation. However, decades of handling, pocket wear, cleaning, storage problems, scratches, carbon spots, and environmental exposure took their toll on these coins. PCGS specifically describes the 1960 as an underappreciated issue in high grades and notes that many examples have surface problems or planchet imperfections. That means the real excitement begins when a collector discovers an example that has survived with unusually strong preservation. A coin that looks ordinary in circulated condition can become much more interesting when its surfaces, color, strike, and overall preservation turn out to be exceptional. There is another reason collectors should carefully inspect a 1960 Lincoln cent. Varieties and unusual die characteristics can create additional interest. The 1960 series includes recognized varieties such as the No FG variety, identified in the PCGS database as F-901. FG refers to the initials of designer Frank Gasparo, found near the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Collectors specializing in Lincoln cents know that small design details can sometimes separate a normal coin from a more specialized collectible variety. This is why examining both sides under good lighting can be worthwhile. Look closely at the date, the D-mint mark, Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, the memorial building, and the designer initials. A magnifying glass can help reveal details that are difficult to see with the naked eye. The more unusual and well-preserved the characteristics are, the more attention the coin may receive from specialists. Now let's talk about the dollar value, because this is where the 1969 Lincoln Memorial Penny becomes especially exciting. A normal worn example should not automatically be considered a hundreds or thousands of dollars coin simply because it is old. However, exceptional certified examples have demonstrated that the right 1969 can bring dramatically higher prices. PCGS records an auction result of $7,475 for a 1969 Lincoln cent graded MS67 in 2010. PCGS also records $505 for a certified MS65 Red No FG example sold in 2017. These results demonstrate the enormous difference that condition, color designation, variety, certification, and overall quality can make. For a collector holding a rough example, the important message is not that every worn penny is worth thousands, but that the date and mint mark deserve attention because exceptional pieces from the same issue can reach the hundreds or thousands of dollars in the right circumstances. The collector demand for the 1969 is therefore centered on the search for quality and uniqueness. A rough coin can still be historically interesting, but a sharply struck example with original surfaces, attractive red color, minimal marks, and strong eye appeal can become much more desirable. Certification from a respected grading service can also provide an important layer of authentication and standardized grading for serious collectors. Current PCGS population information shows thousands of certified 1969 red examples across mint state grades, but the numbers become much more limited as the grade climbs into the highest levels. This shrinking population at the top of the grading scale is one reason advanced Lincoln cent collectors continue to search for superior examples. In other words, the real treasure hunt is not simply finding a 1969 penny, it is finding the exceptional 1969 that has survived far better than most examples from its era. So before you dismiss a 1969 Lincoln Memorial penny because it looks old, dirty, or rough, take a second look. Check the date, confirm the small D mint mark beneath the date, inspect the reverse, study the surfaces, and look for unusual details or varieties. If your coin is heavily worn, its value may remain modest, but if you discover something genuinely unusual, unusually well preserved, or potentially rare, professional examination can reveal a very different story. The 1969 Lincoln Memorial Cent combines American history, billions of coins produced, decades of circulation, difficult-to-find high-grade survivors, recognized varieties, and documented auction results reaching thousands of dollars. That combination is exactly what makes old Lincoln cents so fascinating to collectors. One small copper-colored coin can connect you to the history of American everyday life, and in the right condition or variety, it can become a highly desirable collectible. Next up, the 1971 Lincoln Memorial Cent was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and because Philadelphia did not place a P mint mark on cents during this era, the absence of a mint mark directly below the date is completely intentional. More than 1.9 billion examples were produced in Philadelphia that year, making the 1971 no mint mark cent an important part of the Lincoln Memorial series. But the real excitement begins when collectors examine individual coins rather than simply looking at the mintage figure. A 1971 cent with attractive surfaces, strong design details, original color, and an unusually high grade can become much more interesting to the numismatic market, especially when it is preserved far better than the typical example that spent decades circulating. This is why collectors continue to examine old Lincoln cents carefully, because condition, variety, color, and certification can transform an ordinary-looking coin into a much more desirable collectible. The history behind this penny makes it especially fascinating. The Lincoln Memorial design had already become one of the most recognizable designs in American coinage by 1971, with Victor David Brenner's portrait of Abraham Lincoln appearing on the obverse and Frank Gasparo's Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse. The coin was struck in a bronze alloy containing approximately 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, with a standard weight of 3.11 grams and a diameter of 19 millimeters. When you hold a genuine 1971 Philadelphia cent today, you are holding a small piece of the early 1970s, a period when these pennies were being produced for everyday commerce and placed into millions of pockets, cash registers, jars, and collections across America. More than 50 years later, that simple 1-cent denomination has become a favorite hunting ground for collectors looking for attractive examples, unusual varieties, and coins that have survived in exceptional condition. The age of the coin alone does not make every example rare, but its history gives collectors another reason to appreciate it and search for the best surviving pieces. One of the most important features to inspect is the area directly beneath the date. On a 1971 Philadelphia cent, there should be no letter there. That blank space is the mint identification, telling you that the coin originated at Philadelphia. A D would indicate Denver, while an S would indicate San Francisco. The 1971 Philadelphia issue had a reported mintage of 1,919,490,000 pieces, while Denver produced more than 2.9 billion and San Francisco produced more than 525 million regular business strikes. This makes the no-mint mark version a legitimate and identifiable Philadelphia issue rather than a coin that is missing something. Collectors should also carefully examine the lettering, Lincoln's portrait, the date, the memorial building, the columns, the inscriptions, and the overall strike quality. On a high-quality specimen, sharper details and cleaner surfaces can make a dramatic difference in presentation. The more original and attractive the coin appears, the more attention it can receive from collectors who are building complete Lincoln memorial sets. Now comes the part that makes this coin hunt so exciting: condition. A 1971 no-mint mark penny in ordinary circulated condition is generally not a $1,000 coin, but the market changes dramatically when you move into exceptional grades or discover a recognized variety. Current reference data show that ordinary 1971 cents can remain inexpensive, while certified high-grade red examples can carry substantially higher premiums. Numista's current pricing data, for example, lists ordinary 1971 red examples around the low dollar range through MS65, while MS66 is listed around $11 and MS67 around $160. That creates a major opportunity for collectors, because the real objective is not simply finding any 1971 penny. It is finding an unusually well-preserved example with the qualities that separate premium coins from everyday pieces. Original red color, strong luster, clean surfaces, sharp details, and excellent eye appeal are all characteristics that can attract serious attention. If a coin appears far better than the typical example, professional grading can become an important step in establishing exactly how strong the specimen really is. There is another reason the 1971 no-mint mark cent deserves close inspection. Varieties and errors can dramatically change the conversation. A normal Philadelphia 1971 cent is common, but specialized references record a 1971 double die obverse variety that can command much stronger prices than an ordinary example. Current published price data show substantially higher figures for certified 1971 double die obverse examples, with listed values reaching into the hundreds, and for particularly high-grade red examples, into the thousands of dollars. This is exactly why experienced collectors do not stop after seeing the date and mint mark. They examine the lettering and design carefully, looking for genuine double details and other recognized characteristics. A coin that appears ordinary at first glance may deserve a second look when the details are magnified. For anyone searching an old box of pennies, inherited collection, or decades-old accumulation, the lesson is simple. Examine before dismissing. The difference between a standard coin and a recognized variety can be enormous. The current market for the 1971 Lincoln Memorial Penny therefore has several different levels, and understanding those levels is essential. A normal circulated example may remain close to face value, while attractive uncirculated coins can bring more, and exceptional certified specimens can move into the tens or hundreds of dollars depending on grade, color, and demand. Reference sources currently place a standard 1971 no-mint mark cent at roughly $1.24 or more in uncirculated condition in one pricing guide, while other market references show much higher values for top-grade red examples. Meanwhile, the recognized double die obverse variety has published guide figures ranging from roughly $75 in AU grades to well above $1,000, and even around $2,750 for an MS66 red example in the cited pricing data. These figures show why collectors can become so interested in this date. The potential value is not created simply because the coin says 1971. It comes from the combination of condition, originality, variety, certification, and collector demand. A truly exceptional example can therefore occupy a completely different part of the market from a normal circulated penny. For anyone holding a 1971 penny in very good condition, the best approach is to look at it as a potential collectible rather than immediately assuming a specific dollar value. Examine both sides under good lighting, check the date carefully, confirm that the area beneath the date is blank, and inspect the lettering for unusual doubling or other characteristics. Avoid cleaning or polishing the coin, because original surfaces and natural color are important to collectors. If the coin appears unusually sharp, attractive, and well preserved, professional authentication and grading can help determine whether it has the quality needed to compete in the higher end of the market. A certified coin with a strong grade can be much easier for buyers to evaluate than an uncertified coin whose condition is uncertain. The most exciting discoveries are often the coins that look ordinary at first, but reveal something special when examined closely. That is what keeps the hunt alive and makes older Lincoln cents such a fascinating part of American numismatics. So before you spend, trade, or overlook a 1971 Lincoln Memorial penny with no mint mark, take another look. This Philadelphia issue represents an important chapter in the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, and while its large mintage means that ordinary examples are not automatically rare, exceptional condition and recognized varieties can create dramatically stronger collector demand. The published market data demonstrate that top-quality standard examples can rise into the higher collectible ranges, while recognized 1971 double-die obverse pieces can reach hundreds or even thousands of dollars in strong certified grades. That is the real excitement behind the 1971 penny. One small copper-colored coin can invite a much closer investigation than its 1-cent denomination suggests. If you have one, check the details, protect the original surfaces, compare it with reliable grading references, and consider professional evaluation if it appears exceptional. The market changes over time, and individual coins can perform very differently, so the strongest value stories belong to specifically identified, authenticated, and graded pieces. Your next coin hunt could be the one that turns an overlooked 1971 cent into a genuinely interesting discovery for your collection next up. The 1974 Lincoln Memorial penny with no mint mark is a fascinating United States 1-cent coin that continues to attract attention from collectors because it combines American history, classic Lincoln imagery, copper composition, and the long-running story of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series. If you have a 1974 penny without a mint mark, the first important detail to understand is that the absence of a mint mark is normal for coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint, rather than automatically proving that the coin is an error. In 1974, Philadelphia produced more than 4.23 billion Lincoln cents, making this an important and widely collected issue from the Memorial Cent era. The coin was designed by Frank Gasparo, with Victor David Brenner's historic portrait of Abraham Lincoln continuing on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial appearing on the reverse. The standard 1974 Philadelphia cent was made from the traditional bronze alloy of approximately 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, with a diameter of about 19 millimeters and a weight of about 3.11 grams. What makes the 1974 issue especially interesting is the period in which it was produced. During the early 1970s, the price of copper was becoming an increasingly important concern for the United States Mint. Copper prices had risen significantly, creating pressure to reduce the cost of producing 1-cent coins. The Mint even investigated an aluminium alloy as a possible replacement for the traditional bronze composition, and approximately 1.5 million experimental 1974 dated aluminium cents were produced for testing. Congress ultimately rejected the proposed aluminium cent, and the familiar bronze composition continued for regular 1974 cents. This gives the 1974 Lincoln cent an especially interesting place in American numismatic history because it represents an era when the future of the nation's smallest denomination was being seriously debated. Now take a close look at the unique features of your 1974 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's portrait dominates the coin, with Liberty appearing to the left and the date 1974 positioned to the right. The familiar motto "In God We Trust" appears above Lincoln's portrait. On the reverse, the impressive Lincoln Memorial Building takes center stage, surrounded by United States of America, EPLURBUSUNUM, and 1 cent. The absence of a D or S mint mark is an important identification feature, pointing toward a Philadelphia-struck business strike. Although 1974 also has an unusual historical connection, with no mint mark cents struck at West Point that reportedly cannot be distinguished from Philadelphia pieces under normal circumstances. That unusual production history gives specialists another reason to find the 1974 no mint mark cent an intriguing date to study. The condition you described as very fine is also important when discussing collector interest. A very fine coin has experienced circulation, but its major design elements remain clearly visible, and the details of Lincoln's portrait and the memorial can still provide a pleasing overall appearance. Collectors often examine the sharpness of the lettering, Lincoln's facial details, the hair, the columns and architectural details of the memorial, the strength of the date, and the overall surfaces. Attractive original color and clean surfaces can also make a circulated coin more appealing. The key point is that condition is not simply about whether a coin looks old. Professional grading considers the amount of wear, surface quality, strike, color, and other characteristics. A 1974 cent with exceptional preservation can move into a very different collecting category from an ordinary circulated example. When it comes to today's market, this is where collectors need to look beyond sensational headlines and examine the exact grade and characteristics of the individual coin. Current reference information shows that ordinary 1974 Philadelphia cents generally have modest values in circulated grades, while significant premiums can appear for unusually well-preserved, high-grade certified examples. CoinWeek reports that high-grade red Philadelphia examples can bring increasing premiums as the grade rises, with an MS67 red example selling for $90 in a 2020 auction, while the finest certified levels have reached the thousands because so few coins survive at those exceptional grades. CoinWeek also reports that combined PCGS and NGC populations include only a small number of MS68 red examples, demonstrating why condition can become the major driver of value for this otherwise heavily produced date. For a collector watching the auction market, the most exciting possibility is therefore not simply finding any 1974 no mint mark penny, but finding an example with extraordinary preservation, strong original color, outstanding surfaces, exceptional strike quality, or another recognized characteristic that separates it from the enormous population of ordinary pieces. This is where the idea of a coin potentially entering the hundreds or even thousands of dollars becomes relevant. A normal very fine 1974 cent should not automatically be valued at hundreds or thousands of dollars, but a truly exceptional certified specimen at the highest levels can command dramatically stronger prices. Current published references support this distinction. Ordinary examples remain inexpensive, while top-condition red examples can move into substantially higher price levels, including hundreds, and at the very highest certified grades, thousands of dollars. So if you have a 1974 Lincoln Memorial penny without a mint mark, do not overlook it simply because it is a 1-cent coin. Examine it carefully under good lighting and look at the date, the absence of a mint mark, Lincoln's portrait, the memorial building, the lettering, the surfaces, and especially the overall preservation. Avoid cleaning or polishing the coin because original surfaces are important to collectors, and professional evaluation can be useful when a coin appears unusually sharp, attractive, or well-preserved. The most exciting finds are often the coins that have survived decades with remarkable detail and original appearance. A 1974 cent can therefore become much more interesting when its condition places it into a scarce high-grade category. The 1974 Lincoln Memorial penny is ultimately a wonderful example of how a common-looking coin can carry a much deeper story. It connects collectors to Abraham Lincoln, the historic Lincoln Memorial design, the Philadelphia Mint, the copper versus aluminum debate of the 1970s, and the evolution of American coinage. With more than 4.23 billion Philadelphia cents reported for the year, the date itself is not rare in the traditional sense, but exceptional preservation is where the real collector excitement begins. So before dismissing that 1974 no mint mark penny as ordinary pocket change, give it a careful inspection. If your example has unusually strong detail, attractive original color, exceptional surfaces, or a level of preservation far above typical circulated coins, it could deserve closer numismatic attention and potentially professional grading. The greatest value stories in modern coin collecting often begin with one small coin that someone decided was worth a second look next up. The 1976 Lincoln Memorial cent is especially interesting because it was produced during America's bicentennial year, when the entire country was celebrating 200 years of independence. While the quarter, half dollar, and dollar received special bicentennial designs, the Lincoln cent continued with the familiar Lincoln Memorial design, creating an interesting combination of historic national importance and classic everyday coinage. The Philadelphia issue carries no mint mark, and published mintage figures list billions of these cents, making the truly exceptional examples much more interesting to collectors than ordinary circulated pieces. The history behind this coin makes the 1976 date particularly attractive. The Lincoln cent had already become one of America's most recognizable coins, and the Lincoln Memorial Reverse had been introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1976, the design had become deeply established in American commerce, appearing in pockets, cash registers, coin jars, and collections across the country. The Philadelphia 1976 cent was produced without a mint mark, while Denver examples carry a D and San Francisco produced proof cents with an S. One fascinating detail is that the published Philadelphia total also includes cents produced at the West Point facility during this period, because those pieces were also struck without a distinguishing mint mark. This gives the 1976 no mint mark cent an additional historical connection that makes the issue even more interesting to study. Now look closely at the coin itself, because this is where the excitement begins. On the obverse, you should see Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right, within God we trust above, liberty to the left, and the date 1976 to the right. Directly below the date is the area where a mint mark would normally appear, and on the Philadelphia issue that area remains completely blank. On the reverse is Frank Gasparo's Lincoln Memorial design, surrounded by United States of America, EPLURBUSUNUM, and 1 cent. The coin is approximately 19 millimeters in diameter, weighs about 3.11 grams, and the traditional 1976 cent is made from a copper alloy containing about 95% copper with zinc and tin. When a 1976 no mint mark cent displays brilliant original red color, strong strike quality, clean fields, and crisp lettering, those visual characteristics can dramatically increase its appeal to collectors seeking high-grade examples. The word brilliant is extremely important when discussing the collector potential of a 1976 Lincoln Memorial cent. Collectors do not simply look at whether the coin is old. They look at preservation, color, luster, strike, surface quality, and overall eye appeal. A brilliant red example that has maintained its original copper color can stand apart from ordinary brown or circulated cents. At the highest certified levels, tiny differences in surface marks and preservation can separate one grade from another, and this is where the market can become dramatically more competitive. CoinWeek has reported that high-grade 1976 Philadelphia cents can reach impressive prices, particularly when they receive elite red designations and very high mint state grades. Its reported auction record for a 1976 Lincoln cent graded MS68 RD reached $7,931.25 in a heritage auction sale, demonstrating how far an exceptional specimen can rise above the ordinary value of a 1-cent coin. This is why collectors examining a 1976 no mint mark penny should pay special attention to the small details. Look for brilliant original red color across both sides, strong luster in the fields, sharp Lincoln hair details, clear lettering, clean memorial columns, and minimal marks in the most visible areas. The surfaces around Lincoln's portrait and the large open fields can be especially important because contact marks can become very noticeable under magnification. The reverse should also receive careful attention, especially around the memorial building, lettering, and open areas. A coin that looks extraordinary under normal lighting can become even more impressive when examined under magnification. Professional certification can also make a major difference for a top-quality example, because a recognized grading service can authenticate the coin, assign a numerical grade, and identify its color designation. That combination can help collectors compare an exceptional coin with other high-grade examples in the marketplace. When we talk about current market value, the 1976 no mint mark Lincoln cent has a fascinating range. Ordinary examples are generally inexpensive because the issue was produced in enormous numbers, but the market changes dramatically as condition approaches the finest known levels. Current reference information places typical uncirculated examples at modest prices, while APMEX lists a 1976 Philadelphia red cent around $72 at MS67, and much lower amounts at MS65 and MS66. CoinWeek's market discussion likewise shows that MS67 red examples can commonly bring around the $80 to $100 level, while MS68 red pieces can move into the hundreds of dollars and exceptional examples can reach several $1,000s. Most importantly, the documented $7,931.25 auction result proves that an outstanding certified example can enter the multi-$1,000 category. These figures should be viewed as examples of the premium that extraordinary condition can create, rather than as a claim that every 1976 penny is worth thousands. The real excitement for collectors comes from the possibility of finding an unusually preserved example among coins that were originally made for everyday circulation. Billions of 1976 cents were produced, but the number of coins surviving today in truly exceptional condition, with outstanding original red color, strong surfaces, and elite certification is far smaller than the original production figure. That difference between total mintage and top-quality surviving examples is one of the reasons condition rarity matters so much in modern coin collecting. A collector searching through an old collection, inherited coin group, bankrupt roll, or forgotten coin box could encounter a piece that deserves much closer examination. The key is not simply the date or the absence of a mint mark, but the combination of the 1976 date, Philadelphia-style no-mint mark, exceptional preservation, original color, and potentially elite mint state certification. So if you have a 1976 Lincoln Memorial penny with no mint mark, and it appears exceptionally brilliant, do not dismiss it simply because it is a 1-cent coin. Take a close look at the color, luster, surfaces, strike, and details, and compare the coin with certified high-grade examples. The documented market shows that ordinary pieces and elite specimens can exist in completely different value categories, with the finest examples capable of attracting hundreds, thousands, and in exceptional documented cases nearly $8,000 at auction. The 1976 date also carries the unforgettable story of America's bicentennial celebration, making this coin more than just a piece of pocket change. It is a small survivor from one of the most memorable years in American history. If your 1976 no-mint mark cent has extraordinary brilliance and exceptional preservation, it could be worth having professionally evaluated and certified, because in the world of Lincoln Memorial cents, condition can transform an ordinary-looking 1-cent coin into a highly desirable collectible. Important value note: coin prices change according to grade, red/RB/brown color designation, certification, surface quality, varieties or errors, eye appeal, and actual auction results. The high dollar figures discussed here apply to exceptional, high-grade examples and documented auction results, not automatically to every 1976 no-mint mark penny. Current references show that extraordinary certified pieces can command substantial premiums, while ordinary examples remain much more modestly valued. Next up, the 1982 Lincoln Memorial cent with no mint mark is especially fascinating because 1982 was the year the United States Mint changed the composition of the cent from the traditional bronze alloy to copper-plated zinc. During this transition, the Mint produced multiple varieties involving both metal compositions and different date styles. Professional numismatic references identify 7 regular 1982 business strike varieties, making this seemingly ordinary penny much more important to collectors than its 1-cent face value suggests. If your 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny is truly in brilliant uncirculated condition, with strong original luster, sharp details, attractive surfaces, and excellent eye appeal, it deserves a much closer examination because high-grade examples and the correct varieties can attract significantly stronger collector attention than ordinary circulated pieces. The historical story behind the 1982 Lincoln cent is one of the biggest reasons collectors continue to watch this date. The rising cost of copper and the search for a more economical composition led the Mint to begin transitioning the cent to copper-plated zinc. That created an unusual situation in which 1982 cents could be found in both primarily copper-based and copper-plated zinc compositions. The difference can be confirmed by weight. Bronze examples are approximately 3.11 grams, while zinc examples are approximately 2.5 grams. Even more exciting for collectors, 1982 also introduced large date and small date varieties. That means a collector looking at a no-mint mark 1982 cent should not stop simply because there is no mint letter. The absence of a mint mark is normal for these Philadelphia-associated issues, and PCGS notes that some no-mint mark 1982 cents were struck at Philadelphia, San Francisco, and West Point, with the coins carrying no mint mark, making the exact production origin impossible to determine from the coin alone. This complicated production history gives the 1982 cent an identity all its own, and is exactly why serious Lincoln scent collectors pay attention to the date. One of the most important features to inspect is the date itself, because the 1982 Lincoln scent exists in both large date and small date versions. Heritage Auctions explains that on the large date variety, the numeral 9 sits slightly higher in relation to the surrounding digits, while on the small date variety, the digits sit more evenly in relation to each other. For a collector holding a brilliant uncirculated 1982 no-mint mark penny, this small visual difference can become extremely important. You should also examine the Lincoln portrait for sharpness, the lettering around the obverse, the details of the Lincoln memorial on the reverse, the condition of the fields, and the quality of the original mint luster. A coin that has remained bright and well preserved for decades can have substantially greater collector appeal than an example showing heavy circulation, scratches, discoloration, or significant contact marks. The most exciting possibilities occur when excellent preservation combines with a desirable 1982 variety, making the coin a candidate for professional authentication and grading. Condition is another major factor that can transform the collecting story of a 1982 no-mint mark cent. A truly uncirculated coin has not experienced the normal wear that develops when a cent spends years moving through commerce. Instead, it can retain much of its original mint brilliance and sharp design detail. In the upper mint state grades, tiny differences in surface preservation can have a major effect on desirability. PCGS records show just how dramatic this can become with certain 1982 varieties. A 1982 bronze small date has a recorded auction price of $9,987.50 for a PCGS MS67 plus red example, while a 1982 zinc small date reached $15,600 in PCGS MS69 red at a Stack's Bowers auction. These are exceptional certified examples, not a guarantee for every 1982 penny, but they demonstrate why collectors carefully search for superbly preserved examples from this transitional year. A brilliant uncirculated coin with strong color, exceptional luster, clean surfaces, and a premium variety can enter a completely different level of the market from an ordinary circulated cent. The composition of your 1982 penny is therefore another major clue to its potential collector interest. If a scale shows approximately 3.11 grams, the coin is consistent with the bronze composition used during the transition. If it weighs approximately 2.5 grams, it is consistent with copper-plated zinc. This simple measurement can make a huge difference when researching the exact variety. The no-mint mark 1982 coins include both bronze and zinc possibilities, and the date style must then be considered as well. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents often build complete 1982 variety sets because the year captures a major change in U.S. small cent production. The combination of metal transition, large date and small date varieties, and the unusual production circumstances makes 1982 one of the most educational and fascinating modern Lincoln memorial cent dates. If your example is exceptionally bright and uncirculated, preserving it carefully and identifying the correct variety is far more important than simply judging it by its 1 cent face value. Now comes the part that attracts the most attention from viewers, the potential market value. In 2026, the documented auction history shows that exceptional 1982 Lincoln cents can reach hundreds, thousands, and for outstanding examples of particular varieties, well into the 5-figure range. PCGS reports an auction record of $2,401 for a 1982 zinc large date in MS68, while the 1982 bronze small date has a recorded auction result approaching $10,000, and the 1982 zinc small date has reached $15,600 in an extraordinary MS69 red grade. These numbers illustrate the enormous difference between an ordinary 1982 penny and a truly exceptional certified example. A high-quality no-mint mark 1982 cent can therefore become a serious collector candidate when it combines the right composition, the right date variety, and exceptional preservation. In the broader market, values can range from modest amounts for ordinary examples to hundreds or thousands for premium pieces, while exceptional certified varieties have demonstrated the ability to command dramatically higher prices at auction. The key is not simply the year, it is the exact variety, composition, grade, color designation, authenticity, and overall quality. There is also another fascinating reason to keep examining 1982 cents. This transitional year produced some of the most famous modern Lincoln cent varieties and eras. The standard 1982 varieties are already interesting, but specialists also watch for unusual striking characteristics, doubled dies, wrong planchet pieces, and other mint-made anomalies. PCGS lists a 1982 Lincoln cent doubled die obverse variety, showing that specialized varieties exist beyond the basic large date and small date categories. Heritage Auctions has also documented an unusual 1982 cent struck on a 1981 P planchet that sold for $8,050, demonstrating how dramatically an authentic mint error can change the value of an otherwise familiar date. This is why collectors should never dismiss a 1982 penny simply because it looks modern. The transitional history, variety possibilities, and error potential make this date worthy of careful examination, especially when the coin appears unusually sharp, bright, and well preserved. So if you have a 1982 Lincoln Memorial 1-cent penny with no mint mark, in very uncirculated or brilliant condition, this is a coin that deserves attention rather than being casually spent. Start by examining the date style, then determine whether the coin is approximately 3.11 grams bronze or approximately 2.5 grams copper-plated zinc, and carefully inspect the surfaces and color. If the coin has exceptional preservation, a desirable variety, strong original red color, or an unusual mint-made characteristic, professional authentication and grading can become an important next step. The documented market history proves that the right 1982 Lincoln cent can move far beyond face value, with premium examples reaching hundreds, thousands, and exceptional auction levels. That is what makes the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny such an exciting discovery. A coin that appears ordinary at first glance can tell the story of a major change in American coinage, and when the right combination of variety and condition is present, become a highly desirable piece for serious Lincoln cent collectors. Important value note for viewers: the prices mentioned in this video are based on documented auction records and numismatic market information for specific varieties and grades. They are not a guarantee that every 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny will sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars. Exceptional prices generally belong to coins with particular varieties, extraordinary mint state grades, attractive red color, certified quality, or genuine mint errors. Always verify the exact variety, weight, condition, color designation, authenticity, and current auction results before assigning a value to your coin. Thanks for watching.